enjoy, and we are blessed to have him again here for our Pathway to Jannah program. Without any further ado, Maulana Burhan. And I request everybody to be attentive, please, inshallah, we are going to start with the Byan now.
السلام عليكم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وجنة للموحدين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وبعد. فقد قال جل وعلا في كتابه العزيز: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. الحجرات. وقال الله تعالى في مقام آخر: ومن آياته أن خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف ألسنتكم وألوانكم إن في ذلك لآيات للعالمين. الروم. وعن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: ليس منا من دعا إلى عصبية، وليس منا من قاتل على عصبية، وليس منا من مات على عصبية. رواه أبو داود. وعن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: إنك لست بخير من أحمر ولا أسود إلا أن تبذل له بتقوى. رواه مسند الإمام أحمد. وعن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: إن الله لا ينظر إلى صوركم وأموالكم ولكن ينظر إلى قلوبكم وأعمالكم. رواه مسلم أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والتسليم. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the chance and the opportunity to be in this blessed gathering. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us an opportunity to come here and to listen to the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the words of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It is very unfortunate that we actually have to make a 3-day program regarding racism. It is unfortunate because the issue of racism was dealt with more than 1400 years ago by Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he taught us, he showed us through his actions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran regarding this issue. So this issue was dealt with more than 1400 years ago, 1400 years ago. But still now, amongst us, in our countries, in our nation, in our communities, in our societies, we still face this problem. And that is very unfortunate. But since the issue comes up, we have to tackle this issue. And that is why we are here. To learn what are the causes. Why does a person have to be racist? What are the harms behind it? What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us regarding racism? What did Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam tell us regarding racism? Before I get into the Islamic perspective of racial equality and racism, let us look at racism in a secular point of view. According to social scientists, there are many theories regarding the cause of racism. According to social scientists, not normal people, according to social scientists, psychologists, psychiatrists, etc., there are many theories that are the causes of racism. Amongst those theories, there are 4 theories which are clear and they are precise. Of course, when something is clear and precise, it's not a theory no more. It is a law. But the social scientists, they still call this these theories. Number one, it is false attribution. Number one cause of racism is false attribution. To better understand this concept, people with baby face features, such as round, large eyes, high eyebrows, round cheeks, large forehead, and smooth skin, and round chin, they tend to seem warm, which is good, which is positive. You know, they seem to be warm people that you can interact very easily. But when it comes to the history of racism, they seem to be naive. This is false attribution. They seem to be naive, weak, and submissive. However, those who have mature features, whose features are more mature, for example, small eyes, low eyebrows, small forehead, and an angular chin, are seen stronger and more dominant in society. As a result, one nation would take these attributions as justification for racism towards people of other race. For example, Europeans, when they first went to West Africa, they saw people with dark skin. They saw the black men. And when they saw them, they looked at them as primitive, as secondary. Because of what? Feature, false attribution. They looked at them as people they are genetically inferior, that something was wrong with them. And they looked at them as submissive after tribal wars. After finding out that if these people, they have wars amongst themselves, those who lose, they become more submissive. So what happened? The Europeans, they took advantage of that. They took advantage of that, and they started buying the slaves. They started keeping people as slaves. They started trading with the leaders of the tribes. And they instigated more wars amongst them. And that's how this theory of false attribution came to place. You look at someone and you use your own ideology by his features. That this person, he's like this, and we don't think about all these. These are, psychological issues and psychological issues. So when you look at a person with these type of features, we think, okay, these people are submissive, and let's take advantage. So that is cause number one, false attribution. They are justified, right? These Europeans, what did they say? They justified their behavior. They justified what they just did, false attributing to other people, and they say that Africans look like human beings, but they are different. Africans look like human beings, but they are different. That is number one. Number two is fear. Second cause or second theory of racism is fear. Fear of what? Associating with another race. And the fear is actually, how is it created? It is created from us. It is created through parenting. I'll give an example. I mean, I grew up in New York. I would go to play basketball, and I'm talking about my own family. Obviously, nobody intends to do this, but this eventually would happen, even amongst us, especially the Desi family. Your son goes to play basketball, and then comes after a couple of hours, and then what happened is mother or the father asks, "Beta, where did you go?" "Yeah, ma, I was playing basketball for 2-3 hours." "Okay, with who?" "My friends." "Who are your friends?" "Oh, from some African people from high school." "Allah, African. Tuba, don't ever. The mother and the father didn't have to say they were bad people. They didn't have to say they were bad people. But their actions showed that something was wrong. And I'm being, open about it. Sometimes this happens. We grew up in the Pakistani community, in a Bengali community, in a very diverse community, and we hear it. I'm a teacher in school. Parents come up to me and they say ajib things. In our school we have people from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, from Africa, from Scotland, from different places. And parents, alhamdulillah, we teach the parents. We have classes for the parents. We teach the kids. We all know how New York is, Brooklyn, and we all know how that place is. Right? It's very, very diverse. People from Afghanistan. So we have to learn how to communicate with each other. So right when the parent says that, Tawbah karo, right? Do Tawbah. What does the child think? These people are bad. The parents didn't say anything. They just said, do Tawbah. Don't ever go with them. If it's a Pakistani family, child playing with Bengali, don't. They're not good people. If it's a Bengali family playing with the Pakistani, no, don't go with them. And unfortunately, it happens amongst the Bengalis and Pakistanis themselves. Right? Noah Khali, right? Those Bengalis we know, right? See, I'm being open about this, right? And the people, I studied in Darul New York, right? It's a madrasa which with the Bengalis they started, and then we had people from Sylhet, from Chittagong, and it is always, you guys know, right? The Bengalis, we know what I'm talking about, right? I don't know, Akali, you guys are, golden sword and this and that, blah, blah, blah. May Allah forgive all of us, right? But it happens amongst even our Bengalis. It happens amongst Pakistanis. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentioned in a hadith that لَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ دَعَا إِلَىٰ عَصَبِيَّةٍ. This hadith, even Shaykh Uthman mentioned it yesterday. That the person who calls toward asabiyya, toward racism, or tribalism, or nationalism, لَيْسَ مِنَّا, that person is not from amongst us. وَلَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ قَاتَلَ عَلَىٰ عَصَبِيَّةٍ. That person who fights for nationalism, for racism, for bigotry, for tribalism, that person is not from amongst us. Then Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam, he mentioned, وَمَنْ مَاتَ عَلَىٰ عَصَبِيَّةٍ فَلَيْسَ مِنَّا. أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. The person who dies in the state that he or she has racism in his or her heart, that person who dies with racism, with tribalism, with nationalism in that person's heart, that person is not from the ummah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect each and every one of us. Again, the second cause for racism is fear. And the most common cause for fear is unfamiliarity. When you are not familiar with something, right? There's a saying in English, you fear that thing which you do not understand. And I'll give an example, a prime example, right? Because this happened a couple of days ago with a couple of my classmates and their fathers about Bitcoin. How many of us know about Bitcoin? Okay. So if I was to tell an elderly person about Bitcoin, he's gonna call me crazy. Right? What? Digital currency? Making money off the internet with nothing? How is that? Bitcoin? Ripple? Ethereum? Litecoin? Bitcoin Cash, right? If I was to tell and try it, when you go home, try it with your fathers and your mothers, right? Let's see what they say. You can come to me tomorrow, and they're gonna be like, Maulana, my son is talking about digital currency. Do something. Do something dumb. Ayatul Kursi or something. Something's wrong with him. We fear that thing which we do not know about. But once you have proper information, facts, info in front of you, then slowly, that fear starts to decrease. And then at one point it diminishes. So that is fear number 2. Research shows that if a person hasn't grown up around a particular race, then chances for him to fear that race is higher. What does that mean? That means us as a community, whatever type of people we have around us, we should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we should try to interact and mix with people. What is the benefit? The fear will start to decrease. Now, this person is not bad. This person is just like you and me. He goes, he has a family, he has a wife, he has sons, he has daughters. I also have, this guy's a family guy, I'm a family guy. You start to understand a lot of other people from other races. So that means we should start, having contact, speaking, sit down. Let's go to Dunkin' Donuts. Sit down, have a cup of coffee. And let's talk. That's it. Just talk. Let me know you. I'll let you know me. You're from Pakistan, I'm from Bangladesh. You're from Africa, I'm American. I'm black, you're white. Doesn't matter. But when we intermingle, then this attribute of fear, it starts to go down. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. The third type, the third theory, or the cause of racism is selfishness. Being selfish in a social sense. Not in the sense that, I like to hoard everything for myself. No. In a social sense, selfishness. To ensure, what does it mean? To ensure that other races are denied the same opportunity as our own race. To deny opportunity to other race that is given to our race. For example, in the 1900s, colored people were denied. When I'm saying colored people, Asians, black, brown, green, red, whatever you name it, colored. If you're not white, you're colored. In the South, 1900s, colored people will deny equal pay and access to equal employment. And for many years, the blacks in the southern USA were not allowed to vote. And this is being selfish in regards to society. The fourth type of fear is stereotype. The fourth type of the cause of racism, it is stereotype, and that is the topic that I would like to speak about today. That was given to me, and that is stereotype. And this is the most common cause of racism. Now, before getting into stereotype, let us understand what is stereotype. Racial stereotypes are automatic, exaggerated, mental pictures that we hold about all members of a particular group. Let me say that again. Racial stereotypes are automatic, not manual, automatic. They're exaggerated. It's not fully true. It's not fully true. In Bangla, they say, "Til ke tal banai se," right? The Bengalis know what I'm trying to do, right? Something small, or you're making something big, exaggeration. You're making a dot into a palm seed, they say in Bangla. So racial stereotypes are automatic and exaggerated mental pictures that we hold about all members of a particular group. For example, we hear in the media so many times, I don't want to mention who says, but when that person says the word Latino, right after that, what does he say? Anybody can tell me? They bring drugs, all of them. Generalization. Latinos, all of them bring drugs into the country. They are rapists, etc. They are gang members. Although not every Latino are like that. It's just a few. And in every nation, you have people who do evil. In every nation, in every country, in every society, you have people who corrupt the society. It's like saying, you have a mango tree, and one mango falls and it becomes rotten. You take the rotten mango and you're cursing the tree. You're taking the rotten mango and you're cursing the tree because you use this. So you're generalizing the whole tree because of one rotten mango. When those people, when they say black, what do they say after? Animalistic behavior, stereotype. When they say Muslims, extremists, ISIS, killing and bombing, stereotype. We are Muslims over here. Isn't this stereotype? This is stereotype. Now the problem, how do we develop stereotype? Now this is what stereotype is, and I gave a couple of examples. How do we develop stereotype? When we are unable or unwilling, very, very important, when we are unable or unwilling to obtain all the information that are needed to make a fair judgment about people or situation. When we are unable or unwilling to get all the facts and all the information, that's how stereotypes start to build up. And from where? Personal experience. It's an isolated incident. It happened once. It happened twice. It happened 10 times. Why are we generalizing the situation? So personal experience. Sometimes it happens with family members. Mother, father, brother, sister. They'll tell us something wrong. And this is very, very important for us, for those who are parents. We should, let our kids and our children intermingle with all types of people. Definitely they should be good, from before. We shouldn't think that, okay, he's not from my nation, he's not from my village, not him. If that person is good, you see, when you look at that person, you see this person is praying. You see that person is fasting. You see that person is doing tilawat of Quran. You see that person coming to the masjid, regular to the masjid. Let your child intermingle with that person. There's no problem. Slowly, that child, if you don't, that child's going to start to have fear. And if the mother and the father starts to say something, against that person or against that race, then the child will grow, become racist, and will fall under the wa'id of the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, stereotypes come from books. We read novels. Stereotypes come from magazines. Stereotypes come from movie, television, media, the news, CNN, radio. Stereotype characters, right? In movies, there are stereotype characters, comic strips, internet, etc. And as a result, these stereotypes often lead to unfair discrimination and persecution when the stereotypes are unfavorable. Because you have favorable stereotypes and you have unfavorable stereotypes. But the judgment becomes unfair when the stereotypes are unfavorable. For example, if a person is walking, you're walking in a park in the middle of the night. You come across 3 elderly citizens, right? Wearing fur coat, they have a cane, right? You walk past by them, you're not so threatened. Why? Because stereotype tells you that, these are elderly citizen cane, indication of weakness. But you, the same person who walks in the same night, at the same time, walks past by a group of Muslims wearing jubbah, 3 Muslim men wearing jubbah. They have an imama or topi. They're going out for gush to give da'wah. But when you walk by them, you feel threatened. Stereotype. The media, television, movies, nowadays games as well. Games as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq. The question is racial stereotype, is it harmful or not? Is it harmful or not? This is a rhetorical question. Of course, I'm going to answer it for you. When the stereotype is unfavorable, it is very harmful because they ignore the full humanity and uniqueness of all people. It is harmful because when the stereotype is unfavorable, when the racial stereotype is unfavorable, it is harmful because you're ignoring the full humanity and uniqueness of all people. And some of the harms are what? Devaluing, degrading, and it's very hurtful. You're putting someone down. When you think about a certain race, that this race is like this, in your heart, you're devaluing and degrading that person or that race. Everyone in that race. Another harm, they will develop feelings of inferiority. When you show them, or when you talk about stereotypes in front of them, of those people, right? They build a sense of inferiority complex. And that is very bad. And we're going to speak a little bit about it, how these have psychological effects, which is harmful for the health and for the future of this person. Sometimes these inferiority feelings, they translate these feelings, because of the stereotype, these feelings that these people have, that, I'm looked down in this community. Everyone think, because I'm Latino, for example, right? Everyone looks at me and just ignores me. They don't want to talk to me. And these people, they recognize this, they realize this. So what happens, this inferiority complex, right? They have low self-esteem. And this feeling, it translates into self self-fulfilling prophecies that perpetuate the stereotype. Now, if people look at me, or people look at everyone in my race, right, as drug lords, as gang members, these people, all of these people are in gangs, right? Slowly, what's gonna happen to me? I'm gonna feel that since everyone is thinking like that of me, let me just do it. Let me just join a gang. Let me just start selling drugs because I'm looked like that in the first place in society. This is how I'm looked at. I can't change anything. Not only me, my whole race. If I'm Bengali, then these people, they're looking at me with negativity. They're looking at me with the racial stereotype. That's unfavorable. If I'm Pakistani, same thing. If I'm from Africa, same thing. If I'm American, same thing. Another harm for racial stereotypes, it fosters feeling of hate. It fosters feeling of hate and aggression that leads to false sense of superiority. Now this harm is for the person who has these thoughts, who has these racial stereotypes in his head. And this will fall under the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that the person who has an atom's weight of pride, then that atom's weight of pride, that spark of pride, will destroy all that person's good deeds. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us. These racial stereotypes, they have psychological effects. Racism-related stress has been a major focus in the mental health profession. Researchers indicate that racist discrimination, hostility, and prejudice are stress stimulants experienced by racial ethnic minorities. This condition leads to low self-esteem, helplessness, depression, anxiety, physical health problems such as hypertension. All because of what? Looking down on someone. These are the psychological effects. And I would like to request all the communities that if you're a community that's a majority of, for example, if you're a community majority that is Bangladeshi, then wallahi it is your responsibility to make the other race that comes to your masjid comfortable. You have to make them feel like they're family. You have to make them feel like they're a part of it. You have to make them feel comfortable. If you're a community which majority is Pakistani and the others minority are Bangladeshi, are African, are Arabs, Turkish, whatever, then it's your responsibility to make everyone else, meaning the minorities, feel like home, feel like family. If you're an Arab, same thing goes with you, whoever you are. That is what Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam came to teach. Now another question, how do we overcome racial stereotypes? So we spoke about the harms. We spoke about the cause. Now coming down, how do we overcome, how can we tackle this issue of racial stereotype? Overcoming racism is benefit for the community, like I mentioned before. And how do we do it? There's a whole method. Number one, acknowledge. Acknowledge, say to yourself that we harbor racial stereotypes that are unfavorable, that we do harbor. And you should sit down and think about it and ask yourself this. Number one, we acknowledge that we have these racial stereotypes. Number two, become more aware. Remember, this is the method how to tackle the situation. Number two, become more aware of our inner thoughts and feelings. Become more aware of our inner thoughts and our feelings. Number three, when such thoughts come up, when we look at someone, right? We look at a Pakistani, a Bangladeshi, an African American, an Arab, or we look at another race besides ourselves, and when we have these thoughts, right away follow these thoughts up with an alternative thought based on factual info that negates the stereotype. Meaning, when you look at someone who's not from your race, and when wrong ideas come regarding that person, right away think about something good in this person. I think one of our scholars mentioned it, that we are only looking at, like Mufti Farn mentioned, that we're only looking at faults of other people. We are only looking at faults of other people. There's a saying that when a person has one good quality and 9 bad qualities, you leave the 9, you look at the 1. And when a person has 9 good qualities and 1 bad quality, you leave the 1, you look at the 9. That is the mizaj of Islam. That is the mizaj of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq. What can be a better way or a better example than the teaching of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Islam itself? Now so that was the academic or the secular vision of racism. Let us look into Islam. What does Islam tell us about racism? It was mentioned again by Mufti Farhan that Malcolm X mentioned. America needs to understand Islam because this is the one religion that erases from society the race problem. This is the one religion that erases, eradicates, destroys the race problem. Islam has all the keys necessary to defeat racism from society and leaves no room for discriminations. From amongst those keys, I would like to mention 6 of them. And there are 6 things to understand in Islam. Number 1, Islam is colorblind. Islam is colorblind. The color in our skin is just pigment. It's just the color. It's just the color deep. That's what it is. But we all shed the same blood. We all shed the same tears. We all have the same heart. The only difference is the color, that's it. Nothing else. And maybe the language, that's no difference. We're all the same. We're all equal in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The purpose of different color, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُم مِّن ذَكَرٍ وَأُنثَىٰ وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Over here in this ayah, this is one of those many ayats. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not only talking to Muslims, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to whole humanity. Muslims, Christians, Jews, etc. Everyone, the whole humanity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O humanity, إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُم مِّن ذَكَرٍ وَأُنثَىٰ. Verily, definitely, we created you, male and female. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا. And we have created you in nations. وَقَبَائِلَ. And in villages. We have villages in nations. So we have created you in different nations, from different countries. And from amongst those countries, from different villages, from different places. For example, in Bangladesh, you have Sylhet, you have Chittagong, you have Kumilla, you have Noakhali, you have Dhaka, you have Rajshahi, you have Punla, you have so many places, Faripur, etc. In Pakistan, you have Lahore, you have Karachi, you have, what else do you have, Fahad? Multan, right? What else? Islamabad, come on, help me out. You're gonna make everyone feel like family here. Kalabad, right? We have so many places. In America, you have so many states. You have the north, you have the south, you have the east, you have the west. You have Canada, North America, South America, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us in different nations and in different villages. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us why we did it. لِتَعَارَفُ. Not so that we can have asabiyah, not so that we can fight. Yeah, Sylhet one team, and Noakhali one team. Lahore one team, Islamabad one team. New York, California, that's in sports, not in Islam. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, why did we do this? لِتَعَارَفُ, so that you may know one another. So that when you look at, subhanAllah, another person from another country saying, La ilaha illallah, this is a ni'mat of Allah, this is a miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that you may know one another. Imagine if the whole world was Bengali. Imagine the whole world, everyone was Bengali. There was no such thing as race. There was only one race. I say Bengali, you know? You're stuck with a couple of types of food. You're stuck with shukki. You're stuck with biryani, right? You're stuck with all the spices in the world. You guys tell me, isn't that boring? It's boring. You might like it, but eating it for the next 60, 70, 80 years of your life, come on. It's boring. Sometimes Bengalis over here go to Danbury Masjid, eat the food over there. We enjoy it. Eat the out of food. Imagine you're all Pakistanis. Now let's make the Pakistani feel good. Right? Imagine everyone in this world is Pakistani. You're stuck with what? Pakora, right? You're stuck with pakora for the rest of your life. You're stuck with what? Roti, no rice at all, right? But sometimes you go to the other side and you eat their food, so that you may know one another. Bengalis go to Pakistanis to eat their, pakoras, and the Pakistani go to Bengalis to eat their what? Shutki, right? Very famous. We all know. That's like, to me, that's like a stereotype. When I think of, I'm Bengali, by the way, right? So when I think of Bengali, it's shutki. Biryani, rice, fish, right? Mas. Give us tawfiq to intermingle. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, right after, لِتَعَرَفُوا. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create us different? So that we may know one another. We may enjoy. We may realize the miracles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we eat the food of one another, it's a different feeling. You enjoy it. And then you start realizing that, oh man, this is good. I'm going to try that again. And then what happens? You go to your friend's house, who's from another race, you eat his food, that muhabbat, it increases. The wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it starts to increase. Food was just an example. There's so many other things as well. And even in sports, you don't like, a person doesn't like, I never used to play cricket. I started playing cricket with my own people, right? And, it was fun. Different sports in different countries, you start liking, and then you start to intermingle and mix with these people, and that's when fear and all the causes of racism starts to decrease, and muhabbat starts to increase. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He ends his talk that, yes, I created different nationalities, different villages, different people. You guys are not better than the other. I have not created one nation better than the other. The yardstick to measure who is better or not, it can only be found in taqwa. Taqwa is the yardstick. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum, and I believe one of the scholars will elaborate on this. That the most honorable, the best amongst you, are those who are best in taqwa. I will leave it at that for this ayah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. So that is key number one in Islamic perspective, that Islam is colorblind. Number two, diversity is a miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافُ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِلْعَالِمِينَ. That verily, from amongst His from amongst the miracles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has created the earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has created the earth, the sky. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ. From amongst the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, miracles, the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that He created the sky. وَالْأَرْضِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the earth. وَاخْتِلَافُ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ. We take pride over our color or over our race. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that is nothing but a miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And from the miracles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the difference of your tongue. Al-sinatikum. It's a miracle of Allah. There's nothing to boast about. It is a miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاخْتِلَافُ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ. Not only the tongues, but your colors as well. So if you are dark skinned, you should be happy. Why? Because it is a miracle of Allah. If you are light skinned, you should be happy. Why? Because it is the miracle of Allah. If you are brown, you should be happy. Why? Because it's the miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to realize the miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is meant to add flavor to life. This is meant to add flavor to life. And we see this in our communities and other places, where one race, they're intermingling in such a way that one race is getting married to another race. And this was found in the Sahaba as well. And we're going to learn about it after a couple of minutes. How a Sahaba who's an Arab, but getting married to people who are dark-skinned, from people from Ethiopia and Africa. Why? Because they know this ayah. These are miracles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You and I sitting, we are the miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq to realize this. Key number 3, in perspective of Islam, mankind was all created from clay. Mankind, we are all created from clay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions in Surah Taha, منها خلقناكم وفيها نعيدكم ومنها نخرجكم تارة أخرى. That from it, mean what? From clay, all of you have been created. منها خلقناكم وفيها نعيدكم. And to clay, into clay you guys will go to. You were created from clay and you will be made into clay again when you die. وَمِنْهَا نُخْرِجُكُمْ تَارَةً أُخْرَى. And then you'll be taken out from clay again, meaning on the day of Qiyamah. So we are all made from clay. And this reminds me, because the sin of racism was done by who? First, who can tell me? Shaitan. What did he say? What did he tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْ. I am better than him. I am better than him. Why? خَلَقْتَنِي مِنْ نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ طِينٍ. You created me from fire. And you created Adam alayhi salatu wasalam from clay. That is why I'm better than him. Fire has the quality of burning, of destroying, of going upward. Clay is just clay. You throw it and it just goes down, it just stays on the floor. It doesn't do anything. The first sin of racism was done by Shaitan. And this is also one of the qualities of Jahiliyyah, where Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam tells Abu Dhar. And we're going to talk about that soon. So there is nothing to take pride, since Islam teaches that man were all created, essentially created from clay, from the same substance. We're all the same. If we say I'm better than someone else, how? How can we say that? Only Shaitan said it. He's not supposed to, but he did. And that's how he became Shaitan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq to realize this. Perspective number 4. Virtue is only through piety, like I mentioned before. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The Prophet ﷺ made it very clear in his last sermon that there is no virtue of the Arab. Nabi ﷺ mentioned in Khutbatul Wida, in the last sermon in Makkah, in Maidan Arafat, he says that there is no virtue of an Arab over the non-Arab, nor are there virtue of a non-Arab over an Arab, nor there is virtue of a white person over a black person, nor are there any virtue of a black person over the white person. We are all the son of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. Verily, those people who are honored are those people who have taqwa, fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those who are conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is number 4. Number 5, the 5th key in Islam, we are all slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Different cultures, backgrounds, and nationality. At the end of the day, our all identity is that we are Muslims, which dictates we are all the servants and the slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are nothing greater than that. And number 6, nationalism is prohibited in Islam, which I mentioned before. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mentions, لَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ دَعَا إِلَىٰ عَصَبِيَّةٍ وَلَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ قَاتَلَ عَلَىٰ عَصَبِيَّةٍ وَلَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ مَاتَ عَلَىٰ عَصَبِيَّةٍ. The person he is not from amongst us who has racism in his heart. He is not amongst us who fight for racism. They fight for you to make this. It could be physical fight. It could be verbal fight. That I'm better than you because my village is like this and my country is like this. And that person who is not from amongst us who dies in that condition. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us. If we have these notions in our heart, my dear respected brothers, this is the time to get rid of it. This is the time to get rid of it. Why? Because death is inevitable. You cannot escape death. You cannot run away from death. You cannot dodge death. And if we have even a spark of racism inside of our hearts, and we die in that condition, how are we going to face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This is something to take note. If you take an elephant and you cut that elephant into 100 pieces, you are not going to get 100 elephants. You are not going to get 100 elephants, you're just going to get a blood mess. When you take the Muslim Ummah, when you take the Muslim society, when you take the Muslim communities, and think that we're going to break apart, making multiple communities, making multiple Islam, no. We are just destroying Islam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to realize the value of what Islam teaches regarding racism. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his message was crystal clear, a message which which he gave in Maidan Arafah, Khutbatul Wada, it was crystal clear. And I would like to say it again. An Arab has no superiority over non-Arab, nor does a non-Arab have superiority over an Arab. Also, a white man has no superiority over a black man, nor does a black man have any superiority over a white man except by piety. In the history of Islam, when you look into the history of Islam, we will see that the history is flooded. It has so many stories where people from different races have high status in Islamic society. If you look at leadership, right? If you look at leadership, then there's a story regarding Ubadah bin Samit. When Muslims were conquering Egypt, at that time the leader was Amr ibn al-As. Amr ibn al-As, he was the leader. So the Muslims, they were conquering Egypt and they reached Babylon. When they reached Babylon, the king of Egypt at that time, Al-Muqawqis, he sent a delegation to Amr ibn al-As, and he told through the delegation that, send a delegation from your side to me. He was the king of Egypt at that time. So Amr ibn al-As, what he did, he sent a delegation of 10 people. And from those 10 people, he made one of them the leader. And he said, only you will talk. Who is that person? Ubadah bin Samit radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And it is mentioned about him. Look at this. Amr ibn al-As made him the spokesman, the spokesperson, that he will talk. And who is he? He was very tall, he was very dark in complexion, and he was very muscular. So this delegation, they went to Al-Muqawqis. And then when Muqawqis saw Ubadah bin Samit, he said, take this person, dark-skinned person, away from me. He looks very scary. I don't want to look at him. I'm very scared. So then the rest of the 9 people in the delegation, they said, no, he is our spokesman. He is our leader. Everyone else was Arab. He is our leader. Why? Because he has the most knowledge amongst us. He's higher than us in wisdom, in knowledge, and in taqwa. And he was amongst the first to accept Islam. And our Amir, Amr ibn al-As, told us that we have to listen to him. And we understand why. Because he is the most knowledgeable amongst us. And he has taqwa and wisdom. Therefore, we're not going to speak, he is going to speak. So then, Muqawqis, he says that you make a black person your Amir. You make a black person your Amir. He said yes, because Islam is colorblind. Islam doesn't look at color. Islam looks at what's here. Islam looks at who you are. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at who you are. It is mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, Inna Allah la yanzuru ila suwarikum wa amwalikum. Very important, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not look at who you are. He does not look at your suwar, look at who you are, your body figure, your complexion. Look how handsome you are. No. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not look at how much wealth you have. Wa amwalikum. Allah doesn't look at your richness. Nothing. Doesn't look at how much money you have, what car you're driving, how big your house is, how famous you are. وَلَكِنْ يَنْظُرُ إِلَىٰ قُلُوبِكُمْ وَأَعْمَالِكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at your heart, and looks at your deeds. And that is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judges. So this person, Ubadah bin Samit, he tells Muqawqis that you're scared of me? You're scared of me? There's more than thousands like me in the Muslim army. And that was the jawab he gave. So in Islamic history, we see that leadership was given to people of color. We had muftis, that was people of color. The Khalifa of that time, the 5th Khalifa, I believe, Abdul Malik ibn Marwan. One time during Hajj, he made an announcement. He told one person to make an announcement because Hajj is the perfect time. You have majority of the Muslims there. You have a lot of Muslims there. So he tells a person, Abdul Malik bin Marwan, he tells one of his advisors to make an announcement that Ata bin Abi Rabah, no one can give fatwa above him. He is the Grand Mufti. And what was written about Ata bin Abi Marwah? It is said that he was black, he was dark-skinned, he was one-eyed, he was flat-nosed, he was crippled, and he had kinky hair. He was crippled and he had kinky hair. But look what Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, he made him the Grand Mufti of Makkah. And no one can give fatwa besides him. You have a question, you come to him. So we had muftis in Islamic history who were like this. And again, why? Because of the heart, not because of the appearance. We had philosophers who were also muftis. Usman bin Ali al-Zayla'i. He was from Ethiopia. And he is the author of Tabyeen al-Haqa'iq. Mufti Sahib is here, he can confirm that. He is the author of Tabyeen al-Haqa'iq li Sharh Tamd al-Daqa'iq, which is one of the texts, which the Hanafi text, one of the authentic Hanafi texts, and he wrote the commentary on that. And what was he? He was from Zaylai, he was from Ethiopia. We had amongst the masters of Hadith, his name is Hafiz Jamaluddin Abu Muhammad Abdullah bin Yusuf al-Zaylai. He was the author of Nasbur Raya, a book which talks about all the Hadith of Hidayah. Those who are the scholars who are here, they can confirm that. And where was he from? He was also from Ethiopia. He wasn't an Arab. He was dark skinned. But we have people like that in Islamic history. And even Imam Suyuti, a great Mufassir, and Sheikh Anwar Shah Kashmiri, rahimahullah, they also praise Hafiz Jamaluddin. In Islamic history, we had generals. Sheikh Usman mentioned it the other day. We had generals who weren't from the Arab race. Osama bin Zayd, he was known as the teenage general of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was elected as general at the age of 17 in against the Romans in Syria. And what happened was, when he was elected, because he was dark, and what happened was, some Sahabis, they were very upset that, there was leaders of Quraysh. There were luminaries from amongst them. Why was this young boy, 17 years old, why was he given this position as a general? So they went to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sorry, they didn't go to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They didn't have the courage to do so. Nabi alaihi wasallam heard about this. And he tells them that, "Oh people, oh believers, I heard that you are upset regarding my decision. Believe me, if you listen to Osama bin Zayd, then you are listening to me. If you obey Osama bin Zayd, that means you are obeying me." He was 17, he wasn't Arab, he was dark skinned. If you look at the story of Julaybib, a very famous story of Julaybib radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he was from amongst the Ansar of Madinah al-Munawwara. His lineage is unknown. He wasn't married, his lineage was unknown, so therefore he was like an outcast in Medina. Ibn al-Jawzi, he describes him as being aswad. He was very dark, very, very dark in complexion. Ibn al-Athir also describes him as qasir and damim. Qasir means short. He was dark skinned. He was short, and he was damim, meaning he wasn't good looking. I'm not going to say the word ugly. Why? Because he is a Sahabi of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But he wasn't so good looking. This was described about him. So in one time, more or less to the effect, he tells Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam that, "Oh Nabi of Allah, maybe the only time I'm going to get married is in Jannah. The only time I'm going to get married is in Jannah. Why? Because I'm not so good looking, I'm dark skinned, no status in society, I'm an outcast." Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, "No, that's not the case." Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam takes his hand and he goes to one of the doors of the Ansar and he knocks on his door. And he says that, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam tells the Ansar that, "I have a proposal for you, right? For your daughter." The Ansar was so happy, seeing Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Who wouldn't? He said, "Yes, of course, Nabi of Allah, you? Who wouldn't? This is the coolest of our eyes." So Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, No, not for me. It's for Julaybib." Sorry, I gotta talk to his mother. This is what really happened. I gotta talk to his mother. So then the mother hears, the mother comes. Like, what's going on? He's like, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with a proposal for our daughter. She also was like, "Yeah, of course, why not? Prophet of Allah? It's the coolness of our eyes." Then he's like, "No, not for Prophet of Allah, Julaybib." He was like, "To Julaybib? Are you crazy? Julaybib?" So many people from among the Sahaba, so many people from the Ansar, from Medina, they came for our daughter. People who are rich, people who are good looking. We rejected them. Don't get mixed up with the story of Abu al-Aswad al-Sulami. That's another story. There's kalam in that also. This is mentioned in Muslim Sharif, by the way. So there's like so many people. The mother says so many people came, but we rejected all of them. Julaybi, are you crazy? Then the daughter heard. Subhanallah. I wish the female of our time, like the female of the time of Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala, subhanallah. The daughter came, right? The daughter came and the daughter said that, what's wrong with the racket? And then they said, the whole, issue, what took place. The daughter said, it is the request of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is the proposal from Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wallahi, I will not marry anyone besides Julaybi. I will marry Julaybi. This is how Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave status to people who had no status. This is how Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave status to those people who are seen to be outcast. They weren't outcast. They were the Sahabas. They weren't outcast. But because of our thoughts, other people have inferiority complex because we think we're better than other people. Imam Nawawi, he writes that after this marriage took place, everything went well, and then after some time there was a battle, and Julaybi died in that battle. Look at the love. Julaybi died in that battle. And then, when all the Sahabas, they were looking for, where's my father? Where's my son? Wives are looking, where's my husband? Where's my father? Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam said, what? Where is Julaybi? Where is my Julaybi? Did you see my Julaybi? And when he saw Julaybi, he takes Julaybi and he puts his head on his own lap. And then Imam Nawawi, he writes in the commentary of Muslim Sharif that Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam used mubalagha, used the exaggeration term to describe his love for Julaybi. He says, Huwa minni wa ana minhu. That Julaybi, he is from me and I am from him. This is how Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam teaches us. That people who you see in your society, in your community, they are far away. No one is talking to them. Let me go grab it. Let's go somewhere. Let's talk. Let's go to Dunkin' Donuts. Let's go to Taco Bell. It's halal. Let's go some place and sit down. Let's talk. Show love. Wallahi, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned in a hadith that أفضل الأعمال بعد الفرائض إدخال السرور في قلب المسلم. That the best action you can do after all the faraids is to enter happiness into the heart of the believer. The best action is to enter happiness into the heart of the believer after fulfilling all the faraids. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq. Now coming in to the actual topic of what I'm supposed to speak about. Bilal bin Abi Rabah. Bilal bin Abi Rabah, right? Al-Habashi. This is like a tribute. I feel like, I'm very honored to get this topic. To talk about Bilal bin Abi Rabah. He was a symbol of human equality. Look at his parents. We don't know much about Bilal. We just know that he was the first person to give azan. But look at the background of Bilal. His father's name was Rabah, and he was an Arab. His father's name was Rabah, and he was an Arab. His mother's name was Hamana, and she was from Ethiopia. She wasn't light skinned. She was dark skinned. She was an Ethiopian princess. But at the year of Amul Fil, the year of the elephant, they say, when Abraha came with his elephants to destroy the Kaaba Sharif. So that year is called the year of the elephants. In that year, but not in that incident, but in that year, Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, before he was born, his mother, who was an Ethiopian princess, and his father, Rabah, they were both taken into captive after some battle took place. They were both taken into captivity. Therefore, Bilal radiallahu anhu, he was born a slave. His parents weren't slaves. They were taken into captivity, and then Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu was born in Makkah. So they were both taken into slave in the year of the elephants. Imam Dhahabi, he writes a description about Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He says Bilal radiallahu ta'ala, he was muscular, he was big, he was built, he was muscular. He had hazel eyes which were piercing. He was very, very intelligent, and he was extremely handsome. Although, despite being very dark, he was extremely handsome. And we all know how he accepted Islam, right? He heard Umayyah, his master, right? His name was Umayyah bin Khalaf. He used to torture him, and he used to work for him. And then he heard Umayyah bin Khalaf talking about the Prophet with the other chieftains of Quraysh. He heard this, that, there's a prophet, everyone is flocking towards him. Umayyah would say that everyone is flocking towards him. We know that he's Ameen, we know he's trustworthy, but we cannot say that. Umayyah bin Khalaf, he's saying that we cannot praise Muhammad in front of everyone. Why? Because if we praise him, more people are gonna accept his religion, and no one's gonna worship our idol. So therefore, Bilal radiallahu ta'ala, he heard about this, and he accepted Islam. He accepted Islam without even seeing Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. How was he tortured? We all know. How we read in books, we read in Talim all the time, that he was, when he accepted Islam, Umayyah bin Khalaf would take Bilal in the hottest time of the day, which is noon, when the sun is directly above our heads. He would take him at that time, and he would drag Bilal radiallahu ta'ala on the sand. It is mentioned in the books of Hadith that the fat from the body of Bilal radiallahu ta'ala would come out from his body, and it would extinguish the hot coal. That's how much he was tortured, how hot the sand was. And then a big boulder was put on top of him. And what would he say? Ahad, Ahad. Umayyah bin Khalaf would tell him that renounce your Islam or die. Renounce your Islam or die, but he would say Ahad, Allah is one, Ahad, Allah is one. How was he freed? Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he bought Bilal's freedom. What happened in this incident is when Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam heard about this, heard about Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam told the Sahaba that, is there anyone amongst you who will buy Bilal? Then Abu Bakr, subhanAllah, Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu is being Abu Bakr. He went and he said that I will buy him. He went to Umayyah bin Khalaf. And he told Umayyah that, Umayyah, can you sell me Bilal? So then Umayyah, he said that, of course I'm going to sell Bilal. You're the one who corrupted him in the first place. Because of you, he's like this. If it wasn't for you people, then he wouldn't be tortured. Because of you, he's like this. So then Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says that, okay, what's your price? He says 10 dinars. And 10 dinars at that time for a slave was a lot. He said 10 dinars. Abu Bakr went home, got 10 dinars, and he gave it to Umayyah, and he bought Bilal. When he bought Bilal, when he gave it to Umayyah, Umayyah bin Khalaf started to laugh. And then Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu tells Umayyah that, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? He says that if you haggled with me, if you negotiated with me, and you asked me for only 1 dinar, I would have given him to you. I would have given him to you. In other words, this was what? He was degrading Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Racist. He was degrading Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And he was laughing about it. Then Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he backfires and he says that, wallahi, if you haggled with me and you asked me for 100 gold coins, I would have given it to you in exchange of Bilal's life. This was the love. This was the love that the Sahabas had. Dark skin, white skin, light skin, didn't matter. You have Iman, you have a heart, you have taqwa, you are the best. You are the greatest. This is how the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhu, this is how they were. Honored through Islam. How was Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu honored? Abu Bakr, right? He bought Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu and he freed Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And what would he say about Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu? He would say, Bilal Sayyidina. Bilal is my master. Bilal is our master. This is the status. Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, what would he say? He would say, Abu Bakr Sayyiduna wa a'taqa Sayyidana. That Abu Bakr is our master and he freed our master. Abu Bakr is our master and he freed our master. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave status to Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu despite being dark skinned. What happened? Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, one time after Fajr, this was the habit of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that after Fajr he would turn around and would talk to the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala about his dream or about anyone else's dream. He turns around and he tells Bilal, oh Bilal, what do you do? Last night I was in Jannah, right? Spiritually I was in Jannah, and I heard your footsteps. What do you do that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you such status? That I heard your footsteps in Jannah. Then Bilal radiallahu ta'ala, he said that I don't do anything, from my perspective, I don't know anything extraordinary. What I do is after every time I make wudu, I just make wudu and I pray 2 rakats. That's it. That's it. I make wudu. All of us make wudu every single day, alhamdulillah. And I pray 2 rakats, nafil. Tahiyatul wudu, it's called. And then Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam says, because of this action, I heard your footsteps in Jannah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honors Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu. The story of the azan. How did that take place? Abdullah bin Zayd, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he had a mashwara, because the Jews and the Christians, they had different ways to call people towards their prayers. So the Muslims, they decided that, we should have a certain way to call people towards our prayers. So different Sahabis, they gave different opinions. One Sahabi said to make a fire. I believe it was Salman al-Farsi, to build a fire, because that's what they did in Persia. So they build a fire so people from far away would know, okay, it's prayer time. Whatever type of prayer they pray. It's prayer time. It's time to worship, right? Some said using the bell, etc. So Abdullah bin Zayd, that night he saw a dream that he asked a person who was wearing a 2-piece green garment. 2-piece green garment. And he asked him, can I get a bell? And that person said, why do you need a bell? He said, we want to use it to call people towards Salah. He said, I got something better. That person said, I got something better. And he mentioned the words of the azan. In this dream, he mentioned the words of the azan, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, till the end. He wakes up. And this riwayat is mentioned, by the way, it's mentioned Abu Dawud, Ibn Majah, and Imam Ahmad. So then, he wakes up and he goes to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and he tells Nabi of Allah, oh Nabi of Allah, I saw a dream and these are the words. I saw a dream and these are the words. He narrated the whole dream and Nabi alayhi salam relented. And then subhanAllah, in the midst of so many Sahabas, Abu Bakr was there, right? The 2 Khalifa, right? And the father-in-law of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, Abu Bakr and Umar, they were there. The son-in-law of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, Uthman and Ali, they were there. And the greatest of the Sahabas, they were there. But what did Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam say? Where is Bilal? Where is Bilal? Call Bilal and teach these words to Bilal until Bilal to give the first adhan, which took place in Medina in the Masjid of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he gave the azan. If you look at the conquest of Makkah, when the Muslims took over Makkah or took back Makkah, what happened there? Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam tells Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu to say, climb the Kaaba and give the azan. And when he was climbing, the mushrikeen, those who didn't believe, remember they had racism inside of themselves. They would fight for tribe. And they said, Abdul Aswad yartaqi al-Kaaba? A black man? No, climbing the Kaaba? But it wasn't the skin color. It was the heart. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam told Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, climb the Kaaba and give the azan. The first azan was given in Makkah by Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu. So he gave the azan, the first adhan where? In Medina. He gave the first adhan where? On top of the Kaaba. These are honors given to Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu despite not being Arab. And then what happened after the demise of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he would give the azan all the time. It was his responsibility to wake up Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam for the Fajr prayer. And the house or the ghurfa, the room of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam was adjacent to the masjid, Masjid al-Nabawi. So whenever Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu would give the azan, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, he would see the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam come out. But now the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam passed away. And when he's giving the azan, Ashhadu anna, comes in riwayat, Ashhadu anna, and he will stop there. He's crying. Because he knew how Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam honored Bilal radiallahu ta'ala. He had that love for Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And for 3 days he couldn't give proper azan. He would finish it. But somehow he would finish it. And he would be crying. And he told Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, oh Abu Bakr, let me go. I can't stay here no more. Because wherever I look, it reminds me of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wherever I look. And then Abu Bakr said, no, you can't go, stay with me, I need you. Then Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says, that look, if you freed me for yourself, then I'll stay. But if you freed me for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then let me go. Then Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, let him go. Then he went to Syria. And then it is mentioned, then when it was the conquest of of Jerusalem. When Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu went with his delegation to conquer Jerusalem, they met Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu there. And the Sahabas, when they saw Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, they were so happy. And they wanted to tell Bilal to give the azan. They knew Bilal would refuse. Why? Because the Prophet's name was there. Then they went to Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and they told Umar, "Oh Umar, please request Bilal to give the azan." So when Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu requested Bilal to give the azan, Bilal gave the azan. And when he was giving the azan, the same thing happened. He was crying. The Sahabas, they were crying. Khalid bin Walid was crying. Suhaib was crying. All the Sahabas, they were crying. It comes in narration that Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu was crying so much that the Sahabas couldn't stop them. Why? Because remembrance of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he had the honor to give azan in all three of the most holiest places in this world. In Medina, in Makkah, and in Masjid al-Aqsa. And then when Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when he was passing away, before that, he saw a dream that Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam came to him. He came to him, and Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam told Bilal that, "Oh Bilal, why is it that you never visit? Why is it that you're not visiting me no more?" And then Bilal, the moment he saw this dream, he got up and he didn't delay. He packed up and he went to Medina. When he went to Medina, he went to the grave of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he just fell there. And he was crying again and again. He just continued to cry. And then the grandsons of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Hadrat Hassan and Hadrat Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, they saw Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and they told Bilal that, "Oh Bilal, please give the azan." They were the grandsons of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam after all. He couldn't reject that. So he accepted their request and he gave the azan. And when he was giving the azan, Ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah, again, he started to cry. Not only him, it comes in the narration that Medina itself erupted. Everyone was crying. Man, woman, rich, poor, black, white, everyone started crying. And everyone was crying so much as if the city itself was crying. When they heard the azan of Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, because it reminded them of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then when Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he went back to Damascus. And when he was passing away, his wife said, "Wa huzna, oh what grief, what grief." Bilal radiallahu anhu didn't say that. He said, "No, my wife, don't say that. Say wa farha or wa farhata." That what enjoyment. And then he says, "Sa'altaqi Muhammadan wa ashaba," that soon I will visit, soon I will meet up with my Prophet and his companions. This was the love that Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu had for Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Why? When the whole world looked at Bilal as nothing, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam looked at Bilal as something. This is the message of Islam. When we are a community, we stick together. United we stand, apart we fall. You try to break a wall like this, with your fingers like this. You're not going to break the wall, you're going to break your fingers. But when the ummah is like this, then you can break the wall. You can punch something. No one punches like this. We punch like this. The ummah is like this today. We have to make the ummah like this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me the tawfiq and all of us to realize the status that Islam gives to each and every person in this world. أقول قولي هذا فأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.
الله أكبر الله